Hey, Oz.
Hey, Curtis.
Hey, dare I ask, what movie we watching this week?
Well, I didn't have time to watch the following, so we watched this movie instead.
Okay.
But what I could have watched was The Crow,
Mm-hmm.
crossed with Green Lantern,
Yeah.
with a little bit of Roadhouse,
Yeah.
and a lot of Undertaker and Paul Bearer.
There you go.
But instead, I saved some time and I just watched Ninja Zombie.
The Undertaker.
I almost went just The Crow as my movie.
Just The Crow, that's it.
And then I also thought, like, maybe I should throw in, like, this Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Okay.
Crossed, just like really high profile films.
Yes.
But I'm like, nah, we'll be legit. So welcome back, listeners and viewers, to another week of Let's Talk About Flicks, the weekly podcast where we take a monthly theme, wrapping up non-martial arts movie month. So that means we will drop next month's theme in at the conclusion of this episode. Yeah. I'm one of your hosts, Oz.
I am the other host, Curtis.
And before we get rocking, we definitely want to give a shout out to Patreon subscribers Don S, Aaron A, Mandy K, Melissa L, Colleen K, and Lyle M. Thank you once again for your patronage. I could see all 6 of our Patreon subscribers playing a version of a leg in this movie. I'd like to see that.
Yes, yeah, they're all one of the ninja legs.
Yes, I would like to
Spit Rockney's minions. Yeah,
I couldn't figure out, and I didn't want to look at IMDb, but I couldn't. Even if I looked at IMDb, I couldn't figure out how to pronounce the bad guy's name. So in my notes, he's just bad guy throughout the entire thing.
I Spit Rockney.
Yeah, exactly.
It's probably it's gonna be a couple of different versions today.
It's bad guy.
Episode. That's okay.
Because there's really just the one bad guy in his legs. Yeah. But it is a spider theme.
Yes.
Of the bad guy.
Is it the red spider?
The red spider. So what do we have for our cast of characters? It's absolutely no one anyone's heard of.
No. I mean, I probably don't even need to mention names. I think we should mention up top, Ninja Zombie was filmed in 1992.
Yes.
That is when the production
was
actually happened.
Yeah.
However, it did not pick up distribution until 23 years later.
Yes.
In 2015.
That's not
Yeah, so I think all this tracks pretty well. Additionally, this movie was I guess filmed entirely in Antioch, Illinois, which is about 45 minutes away from where I live and where you formerly lived. So, there's a local connection, and I don't know Antioch that well, so I'm not going to be able to be like, oh, like that's the park, or like, hey, that's behind the pizza place.
But it is kind of cool. Granted, this is 1992 Antioch in the movie, but it's like. It like the cemetery seems like that's a pretty cemetery. Like it lended well to you wouldn't look at this and be like, it feels like Antioch, like
I'm gonna have to take a trip up to Antioch and do the driving tour of the filming locations of Ninja Zombie. Hey kids, look over there. There's the cemetery. Hey kids, look over there. There's the desert.
I'm sure there's daily tours.
There are. They run at the top of every even hour.
Yeah. That would be fun. Like that would be something like really screwball that like I could see myself doing if a movie had ever been filmed in my local town, even a movie as low caliber as Ninja Zombie, like champion that thing. Like, cause that's how you keep like the longevity of these projects alive is you draw attention to it. And is it going to boost tourism in your area? No, but it's going to keep a movie's title like this in the forefront of people's minds.
Welcome to Antioch, home of Ninja Zombie.
Right. Exactly. Like it just, why not? Like lean into it.
And we didn't know that when we selected this movie.
Yeah, definitely not why we chose to watch the film. But yeah, that would be a fun thing I would do. Be like, hey, there's a movie filmed here. We got to run with that. Like my hometown the town I live in is, the home of Edgar Lee Masters, who wrote Spoon River Anthology, which prior to living here, I'd never heard of the book. I'd never heard of the author.
but it's now
So
local lore.
yeah, and
Hmm.
so it's like, oh man, he wrote here, and again, it's like in my mind, I'm like, and I was an English major. I'd never heard of the guy. I went to school half hour away from, like, we never talked about it
Hmm.
at WIU. Um, that to my recollection, but it's like, hey, if you got something right, run with it. So
Yeah.
maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's what I need to do is get a bunch of people to film a really low budget film here, and then we just champion that thing. Like,
Home of, I'm trying to think of what would be a movie name to go with your hometown right
yeah,
now, like home of the plow horse, like
exactly. Yeah, just
home of the two Caseys, like
we're getting a new one.
seriously.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're building one there at the stoplight across from the grocery store,
okay.
and they're shutting down the one that's
The
across the street from the hotel.
Okay, so the one that's just south of there.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
all right. You'll still have two Caseys though,
We'll
which
still
is
have two, but
most
we'll
importantly.
have a big one. And my most interesting, not interesting, but I drove by yesterday. I realized like they've got the pumps put in. The
Mm.
Casey's they're not using has 8 pumps, and the brand new one only has 6. So I'm like,
Hmm.
that doesn't logically make much sense, but okay.
Yeah, all right.
But they're new.
Yeah.
So, all right, cast, characters. Who's
Cast.
in this film?
That's right. We were talking about the cast, weren't we? We've got John Beaton Hill playing Jack Chase, the aforementioned ninja zombie.
Yeah.
Uh, we have Michael Carell as Orland Sands. You could argue he's kind of the lead of
He's
the
the
movie.
lead. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like an archaeologist, something or other.
He's associate something, because at one point there's a joke about you bet your associate's degree.
Like in Wet Hot American Summer, like it was
Yeah.
like associate physics
Exactly.
professor. I'm just associate.
So I look at it as like, does he have a community college degree in archaeology? Like,
I think you have to have at least a master's to teach
Yeah.
at the college level.
not in Antioch.
Nope, not in Antioch. Home of Ninja Zombie.
That's right.
We got Kelly Ankers as Maggie, the damsel in distress. We have the wonderful Terry Dunn, in my favorite role in this movie,
Yes.
as again, bad guy Spithrakne,
Yeah.
whatever. We got Steve Catlick as Professor Coover. And then we have a lot of others.
Legs.
Yes, we have legs. Who are like minions of the bad guy. First
Right.
leg, second leg. We have a character credited as Hooker.
Who may or may not have actually been one.
Well, I mean, we'll have to again go back in Antioch lore
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Yeah. May or may not have been
I
a
don't
local
know.
attraction.
Yeah. Also, right on the Welcome to Antioch side, right below
Yeah.
Home of Ninja Zombie, Home of Hooker.
Hooker. TJ? Uh-uh.
No, not TJ. It's just quote unquote Hooker.
Hooker.
Yep, this is Hooker's hometown.
She's the one giving the film tours.
She's got a golf cart and everything.
Exactly. Hey, players. All right,
So that is the cast. I'll mention the writer director. Why not? Just because it's such a low budget, may as well give props to the writer director Mark Bessinger. I have a feeling Mark Bessinger is probably a local product, just with the fact that they filmed all of this in Antioch.
I'm
Illinois.
sure. It's probably a dentist or something.
Dr. Mark Bessinger,
Right.
DTS.
Are you a doctor of film? Teeth.
No, teeth.
Dr. Teeth.
Kudos to Mark Bessinger.
Yes. And again, we talked pre-show. This movie's it's charming.
That's a great word for it. It's not a good movie. It's not, but it is a charming movie. There's some kind of fun performances.
Yeah,
it tells a good enough story, and it's super low budget, but you can tell they're trying to do everything they can with what they have, and it does come across as a charming little fun movie.
Yeah. It's but and I think it's important to know, you have to know that going in.
Yes.
Like if you think you're uncovering some hidden gem with this film, you're wrong. Like, it's
correct.
We've talked before of going in the effect of going into a movie with the wrong lenses on. Like, we were burnt by a couple of Mel Brooks movies because we expected Mel Brooks quality and we didn't
Yeah.
get it. And so I was like, oh, it's, you know, and so we went into this one knowing this is going to be low budget. This is going to be at best trauma-esque.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, you put that hat on. Like, you go in with that expectation as a viewer, and then you aren't expecting the Matrix.
Let alone the Matrix Revolution.
Exactly. It's like, you know, you're not going in and being like, oh, this is not, you know, martial arts movies, The Matrix, Enter the Dragon, you know, like, no.
Where's Michael Dudikoff?
Right. It's like you bring, yeah, it's like Dudikoff would have been too much for this movie. Like, it would have.
First time anyone's ever mentioned that sentence.
It would have upset. And I mentioned it in pre-show, and I mentioned it, you know, several weeks before, that I am totally pleased with a movie where across the board, everybody on the cast and crew brings the same level of competency.
Yes.
And so this is not we've seen movies where you've got great looking visuals, but horrible editing, or you've got great directing and horrible acting. It's like this across the board. Everybody here is community theater level acting. And then it's just somebody who happens to, I've got, you know, I could splice some film together and make an edit. It's like, so it's the real, like, neighborhood effort kind of thing. And it
does feel like a community collaboration.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
And so with that, like, I find that, and that's where the charming comes from, of like, I'm totally on board with that. Like, this movie would have been out of place if any actor I recognized was in it.
Exactly.
Because it's like, oh, that just ruined the illusion. Like,
Tom Berenger is Owen.
Right. It would have ruined it. Even if Tom Berenger isn't a high quality actor, it's still, he's way better than anybody in this film. And
Jennifer Jason Leigh as Maggie,
as Spitrachny,
as Leg 3.
Yeah, but it would have tarnished what this movie is, or shined it, or something. But it would have been uneven, and so. Mm-hmm. I really like that.
Speaking of what this movie is, Oz, let's get into the dense plot of Ninja Zombie.
We've talked before, I like to watch the movie and remember what's going on, and then sometimes I'll use like Wikipedia's plot just to kind of keep my ideas going.
Yeah,
it's not to read off the plot as a memory; it's more just to jog the memory. Well, this movie has no Wikipedia page.
It's not on Wikipedia. It is on IMDb.
Yeah, only with 140 reviews. So we may have only been like the 200th people to ever watch this movie. But
how did you find this movie, out of curiosity? Because this was your suggestion.
Oh, where did I find it? I don't remember. I really don't. Like a YouTube video or something of just like underrated film, you know, like. It probably was a YouTube video, and it, you know,
driving through Antioch, and you saw the Welcome to Antioch home of Ninja Zombie sign.
I did. I was like, oh, I need to cover that one.
We got to work that one into the show.
driving through Antioch.
Yeah,
that's also a sentence not many people have said before.
I was driving through Antioch.
Why? But no, this movie kicks off. We meet Orlin. He is at a bus stop. He is searching for bus fare. Ironically tense scene as the bus is
kind of a rough area of Antioch they filmed this in too.
The bus is approaching and he can't find the change in his pocket. So like the bus driver recognizes if you have money in your hand, and that's how he decides if he's going to stop or not.
That guy he's digging too far in his pocket.
I don't have time for this.
I got to make sure I hit that puddle too, is just as I pass him.
Yeah. And so Eureka, he finds bus fare, but the bus doesn't stop. And then he is accosted by street thugs.
Yes, he is.
Two of them.
Your favorite, although this was made in the early 90s, your favorite almost 80s street
almost
punks.
Yes,
almost 80s.
I do love the street punk, but so they accost him and give us your wallet, give us all your money. I mean, they've got a gun to his head, and then they themselves are accosted by a man who steps out of the shadows. I originally, because this movie kicked off this way, I originally had Near Dark in my movie marriage because I thought this was going to be more of a thing in the movie, and it wasn't. But we meet Spit Rockney, our bad guy. We don't know him as that yet, but we know he's a bad guy because he's got like county fair paint job of a red spider over one eye.
Yeah, it's like the facsimile of facial scarring. Lots of accosting in this movie. You used
accosting.
You used the word accost twice in like 15 seconds.
Well, this movie didn't accost much, so. But Spit Rockney cut to spur, cut to roundhouse kick to slice two throats in one kick, cut to bloody spur.
Yeah, some Bill Paxton action here.
So I'm like, ooh, near dark. That spur never shows up again in this film.
Nope. It was spurned.
Yeah, I mean, making this is probably a spur of the moment decision to throw that in there, and nothing for spur of the moment.
No. Sorry, I'm putting my coffee down.
I know.
This is also Greg Popovich's favorite movie.
It's true. Yeah. Tim Duncan is the PD.
The big fan. Sean Elliott. Yep.
Yeah. And so Will Perdue actually played for the Spurs.
He did play
probably
for the Spurs.
lived in Antioch.
Yeah, he commuted to San Antonio from Antioch.
I love my home. Jordan can't sell his mansion. Well, I can't sell mine either.
Nope.
So Spit Rockney drops basically, I saved your life. You're mine now. Essentially, you're mine. Even though it's like, I didn't ask you to save my life, but thanks.
You owe me a boon.
Yeah. You will pay your debts to me. And so, cut to karate by the water. We meet Jack.
Yep, here's your Roadhouse
reference. My Roadhouse
reference. Yep, Tai Chi by the water.
Yeah. Jack's, and he's just by the local pond. Like it's some like subdivision lake.
Yeah, it's like a retention pond.
Exactly. Maggie is just smiling at him. We don't learn their names yet.
No.
I had boy and girl for a while.
There you go.
So, he's just doing his Tai Chi. She's just watching him. She loves it. Next thing you know, they're in a canoe.
Yep.
Flirting and tickling. And he gives her, he gives her a ring or two. He gives her two rings, actually. One for him and one for her. And they're going to be together forever.
Forever and ever ever.
Play with us. So why two rings? And he just takes one back from her and puts it on his own finger, and he's like, we're gonna be together forever.
Well, I was gonna give you both until you said something.
Oh, Jack. So now they're off the canoe and they're back on the shore. Like I like how the movie doesn't fiddle with like getting the boat in the water.
No, it's just there.
Cut from Tai Chi to canoe to shoreline.
It was 10 feet out. They just dove into it.
Orland apparently has just been standing there waiting for them to come to him on the shoreline.
Just tapping his foot, looking at his watch.
Yeah, he interrupts this proposal to tell Jack about the mugging. And the very simple white piece of printer paper he found that says soon on it.
Yep. Dot matrix printer.
Exactly.
It has the tearaway things on the sides.
And so he's telling Jack, like, basically, I feel like my life's at risk because the guy said soon. And so he pulls out, I've got a gun, Jack. And Jack's, what? Like,
yeah.
What do you can't have that. So it's at this point, everything in this first few minutes is building up that Jack is the main character. And Orland is his damsel in distress.
Yeah.
You mentioned Maggie, but at this point it's really Orland.
There's several damsels.
Right.
They're all in distress.
All of them, including Hooker.
Well, they're worried about being accosted.
They don't want to be accosted in Antioch. So, Orland has a gun. Jack just walks away from him. And we have leg one ninja, just big, like Brian Bosworth, blonde.
Brian Bosworth.
Like, he is just this, like, you look at ninja number one that just literally appears out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like Jack and Orland are having this conversation. Jack walks off stage right. Orland turns to the left and runs into Ninja.
Yes.
It's like, oh, you guys are just right there.
Yeah. Spit Rockney summons you.
Spit Rockney summons you. So starts taking out Orland. Jack, of course, who's only 6 steps away, he comes back and fights the man because the guy threw Orland's gun into the water. Orland didn't just jumps into this retention pond to find his gun.
He puts his waders on first.
As Jack and Spiderleg fight, it's not a real big fight. Like it's more like, remember that Tai Chi I was doing earlier? I'm going to use those moves again. You just stand here and be the victim of my moves. Jack whoops his butt. Spit Rockney then shows up as Orland is still looking for gun. And Spit Rockney, he kills Jack. Like,
yeah, he's got a sword, just impales him right through the chest.
Yeah.
I will say, Jack gives an awesome death cry.
He does. So clearly he wasn't punctured in the lung.
No, went right between them.
Yeah, got it right in the sternum. Little known fact, you die instantly with a sternum sword slice.
Yeah, that was actually the air escaping from his lungs. He was already dead.
It was angry air. Comes out vocally.
As if the lungs was spurning the air.
What was his last word? So Jack gets killed, then Spit Rockney throws him into that same retention pond. Right next to Orland.
It's just now become retention pond. It's just
well, it is. It's like it's someone's backyard.
It's behind the new subdivision, circa 1992.
Right. Orland finds the gun, shoots Spit Rockney. It doesn't matter. Cut to Jack's funeral.
Yep.
Maggie is very mad and sad. More mad though, really. Like she's angry. She's talking to Orland. Like takes a ring off, slams it on the ground. Like, dude's dead. Like, you weren't married, which is fine, but why are you so, like, you should be grieving now. You're like angry. Like,
she tells I took down a quote here. She tells Orland, it should have been you.
Yeah.
And they're like pointing into the church. Like,
right.
Oof.
Yeah. And she's not wrong. Like, especially when like Spit Rockney shows up at the same park. Like, I sent my leg, but really I didn't trust him, so I was right behind him. Like,
so hiding behind the shrub the whole time.
Well, Orland was hiding behind the shrub, and leg one was hiding behind the shrub. It's a big shrub.
They grew them big in Antioch.
So, Maggie storms off. She's mad that Jack's dead, and it should have been Orland. Orland's trying to, like, grieve with her, and she wants nothing to do with it. Orland finds another piece of 20-pound bonded white under his windshield wiper. With this time, it's a whole, like, I didn't take down everything it said because the editing cut out like before you could read it all.
Yeah.
But it was basically, come see me and I can fix everything.
Yeah. I did
love Brother Banjo.
Yeah. I know it said need help on it, but there was a lot
something
more
like that. It was, should have been on like a telephone pole with like a tear off slip for a phone number.
Call 555.
Right. Yeah. Need a math tutor.
I forgot to mention Brother Banjo during the opening cast.
It's really okay. Like, he's in a scene. So Brother Banjo apparently conducts his business at the local tennis court. We see two guys playing tennis. We don't know who either one of them are, but we watch them play tennis for a bit.
A little too long.
Yeah. Orland walks up to tennis court. Talks to them while they're playing tennis. Like, I'm looking for Brother Banjo. Well, we've got a white guy and a black guy playing. The black guy hits a lob shot to the white guy and then like has his spirit fingers going. And the white guy loses the ball. Like, where'd it go? It never came down. Where's the ball? Brother Banjo then goes over and talks to Orland. You know, I can set you up with a meeting with Brother Banjo. Wiggles his fingers again. Ball drops. White guy just goes away now. Apparently he loses and he leaves.
Well, as the ball appeared, the white tennis player disappeared.
That's right.
That's how Brother Banjo wins.
Yeah,
he just makes the opponent disappear.
Yeah, I win. So, tells Orland, it's a fun little thing here. Brother Banjo's just like, hope you're prepared for it. It's like black hat and ravens, and he's the voodoo guy. It's just him. Like, it's just, he's in his like Lacoste tennis gear. Brother Banjo is alligator little logo on his shirt.
Yep.
And so, tells him that, hey, tells Orland to close his eyes and then does the whole like count to 5 as he like runs around behind him in the fence. opens his eyes, he's not there, and well, where's Brother Banjo? Ta-da! It's me. Well, you said you could help me, and so he kind of tells him what's going on, and Banjo's like, well, how much money you got? Like, I don't know, 60, 70 bucks. Well, give it to me.
So, turns into a mugging.
Pretty much, yeah. He's accosted by Brother Banjo.
Yeah, he's accosted and then spurned. And yeah.
Brother Banjo works pretty cheap. Just whatever you got in your pocket. Like, good. So, cut to... I thought Orland was going to talk to Brother Banjo about bringing Jack back. Mm-hmm. But cut to Brother Banjo fixing Orland's car. Like, he's under the hood, like, crank it. Try it. That's what you paid him $67 to do, was to come fix your alternator?
Just need to change the air filter.
Right. So this is where he convinces Orland to bring back, Banjo convinces Orland, I can bring Jack back from the dead.
Yeah.
But you need something to control him.
Tells him, let's go raise some hell.
Yeah, I've got this ring. So that's what we're going to do here. Uh-huh. We're going to go, you're going to have to dig Jack's body up in the middle of the day.
Yep. In the middle of the day, mind you.
Well, Antioch Cemetery gates close at dusk, so we don't want to get caught here overnight. So dig him up, and you know they didn't dig that hole. Like, the way Orland stood up from inside the hole, inside the grave was more like they had the camera positioned behind a taller headstone. Yeah. And Orland was just ducked down below the headstone. So then when he was climbing out over the hole, he just stood up.
He did the whole thing where like you pretend like you're going downstairs.
He dug a set of dirt stairs down to the casket. Much larger hole than he needed, but so Banjo's telling him, hey, Maggie, here's the reason why Maggie threw down that ring. Orland picked it up. You now have something of his you can use to control him. Whoever's wearing the ring can control Jack. So Jack comes back to life.
Yep.
It's very Frankenstein-esque, but at the same time, Orland turns around and Jack is standing there in full zombie form. He's been dead like 8 hours. Yeah. But he's full on zombie.
That necrosis took effect fast.
Yeah. Well, it was an all natural death. We didn't want any casket. We didn't want any embalming. Just let nature run its course. And in Antioch, very fertile soil.
It is very fertile. That's sort of the sternum too. It just decomposes the body fast.
It does that quickly. Another little known science fact. Yeah. So Orland turns around, Jack's standing behind him, still in his like burial clothes. He's still got on a suit that's way too big for him.
Yes, he does.
And first thing Orland says to a zombified Jack is, let's get you changed. So he changes his clothes into making him basically, he looks like he'd be a sometime visitor to the Blue Oyster Bar in the Police Academy movies. He's wearing like a black leather vest, no shirt underneath it, choker collar that sometimes is on, sometimes is not. Where's the choker collar? Because the scenes where it's not on, it's very, very visible where the makeup ends. Yeah. And then they remember the next scene to put it back on him. Whatever.
Sounds kind of going like White Snake Roadie.
There you go. Pretty much, yeah. And so get a fun little scene where Orland's trying to get Jack to do his like karate again. Yeah. And he can't do it. And so it's just kind of silly. And then I have in my notes here, it was a typo, but I like it. 3 ninjas show up in the cemetery.
Oh, okay.
Because I was kind of typing as I'm watching, and I meant to type ninjas, but it showed up nanjas, and I'm like, that's probably accurate.
It is a low budget. They couldn't afford ninjas, so they had to get nanjas.
They got nanjas. Yeah. They're non-ninjas there. So 3 of them show up, legs 2, 3, and 4, I guess. And Jack's not quite ready to, like, his martial arts skills are still somewhat limited. Yep. We get a sweet side POV shot.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. as it's flying through the air and lands into the mouth of another leg.
Oh,
right. Hold that shot. Hold that. Okay, God, we got the shot. Thanks, man. You can spit that burger out now. But the ninjas drive a sai into Jack's boot, which apparently then like pins him to the ground.
Yeah.
Giving them enough time to accost Orlin and take him to Spitrachny. So this appears to be a castle of some sort, but we only ever see the one room.
Yeah, it's the Great Castle of Antioch,
and we really this is where Will Perdue lived.
It's Will Perdue's summer home,
right? And so this is where we
That's why the ceilings are so tall, because he's 7'1",
right? High ceilings.
He had a custom built.
Because I really like this place. We needed to raise the ceilings.
Yeah.
Attic's really low.
Will Perdue notoriously has giant feet too, which explains why the rooms were so big.
It's true. The foyer is very wide.
The doorways were very wide to make room for Will Perdue.
And so, cut to Orlin. Orlin is taken to Spitrachny's lair.
Yes.
And this is where we kind of get the gist of the movie.
Yeah, we get the plot here.
Is Spitrachny wants Orlin because Orlin is involved in archaeology.
Mm-hmm.
There's a dig that his colleague is on, and there's an urn. There's the urn of... Oh, I had it. I forgot it. It doesn't matter.
It's the urn of Prometheus.
There you go. I knew it was a Greek thing.
And I typed it in all caps just because it felt very important.
It was important.
The urn of Prometheus.
Spitrachny wants the urn of Prometheus because it looks like just a normal urn, but if you drink from it, it's basically the fountain of youth.
Well, it's like if this, if I had done a movie marriage for this month, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade would have been in there.
Yeah, and that's fair. I had my movie marriage done before I got to this point.
Okay. It was a good movie marriage, by the way.
Yeah, it's like crow check. Okay, there's a ring check. That ring controls the dead. Okay, there's my Undertaker reference.
Paul
and Bearer. I saw a roundhouse kick. Okay, perfect. Moving on. Like
Roadhouse. Yeah, there we go.
I got to pay attention to the movie. I can't.
Yeah, we're 15 minutes in, and I got my movie marriage.
But yeah, Last Crusade would have been a fitting movie marriage selection as well. So, but that's Spitrachny's plan. Is I need Orlin to get to his colleagues so I can get this urn of Prometheus so that I have the power of everlasting life.
Yes.
Orlin, of course, is like, no.
Why would I help you?
Like, no. Which, kind of a fun wrinkle here, Orlin then feeds him a spider egg, forces it into his mouth, in a very fun scene where you've got the two ninjas that brought him back, like, forcing his jaw open, but you can tell Orlin's just opening his mouth. Like, this would have been better of when Orlin refuses to open his mouth, plug his nose.
Yeah.
Which would have then forced him to breathe through his mouth. So now you got his mouth open. But they shove this gigantic spider egg into him, makes him swallow it. And now Spitrachny can control Orlin through the egg, but then can also control Jack because Orlin has on the ring.
Yeah.
So
it's the transitive property.
Yes, it's a conga line of control here.
Conga line, do to ninja.
You have to do what I'm doing. Yeah. So Maggie visits Jack's grave. This was a really odd scene here. Really odd. Maggie visits Jack's grave and sees that the grave has been accosted.
Yeah. Spurned, if you will.
I'm going to make sure I got it in the right spot here. Yeah. I think so.
And I think this is where like Orlin walks up and he's like trying to comfort Maggie.
Well, and I've got that here, but
Jack is standing literally directly behind Maggie.
Well, it was odd because like the cuts of this is what Maggie walks up. She's got a bouquet of flowers, sees the grave has been exhumed, drops the flowers. We see the flowers hit the ground, cut to flowers flying through the air. And one of them hits Jack. Okay.
It was a hard bounce off the ground.
I guess, like, these are airborne. But I went back and watched it again because, like, did they just hit the ground and then fly through the air? So they hit the ground, they fly through the air, and then they hit Jack.
The soil in Antioch is very buoyant.
Again,
That's what they're known for.
Antioch is actually built on a trampoline park.
Antioch, aka Jump Zone.
That's right. And so these flowers hit Jack after they bounce and fly. Orland steps out from behind shrubbery again because he's just there, like he's
shrubbery.
He's just at the grave. So he arrives and he's going to take Maggie home. But first, like, again, keep in mind the flowers have hit the ground, they've flown through the air, and then they hit Jack. Well, Maggie sees somebody 200 feet away, like long way away. Like it's Jack. He's taken up residence in one of the crypts. But he's like, I'm watching, I'm like, there is no way, even if you didn't bounce them off the ground, like you could not have thrown the flowers as far across the cemetery. We watch the flowers hit Jack, and then you see Jack a good football field away. Maggie's got an arm on her. She's all state 91.
If only coach would have put me in,
right?
Antioch would have went to state.
So Orland takes Maggie home. Orland then has a phone call with I put Orland phone call with Doofus. It turns out it's his archaeology colleague.
Yes, Professor Doofus,
who is chewing the scenery in his only scene. But yeah, so long story short, it's hey, how's it going? Good. Hey, I found the urn of Prometheus. Thankfully, Jack followed Maggie home and watches Maggie change. It completely unnecessary scene here, 100% unnecessary.
Yeah, this is another one where I was at the coffee shop where I do a lot of my movie watching, and I had to put my arms over my phone screen, boobs,
Well, and it's like it's just unnecessary.
Yeah, they did not need to show Maggie's boobs.
No, and we literally have a person in the cast named Hooker.
Sure.
Don't see her boobs.
Yeah, I mean, local celebrity Hooker.
But it's like of any cast members you would think would reveal the goods would be that one who is paid. So you think, oh, okay, this is where this is going. No, nothing. But Maggie Jack follows her home, watches her change, and then as soon as she finished changing into her pajamas, I guess.
I think so, yeah.
Just gets angry at Jack again. She's in her room by herself. She sees a picture of her and Jack and just gets mad again. But that's it. That's the only point of that scene is to watch her change her clothes.
Yeah, that one was unnecessary.
And again, not that I'm looking for better cinematography, but they shot it through the window, from Jack's POV. So it's shot through the screen. It's not even a revealing shot. You're watching it and you're like, okay, I don't really see what I'm supposed to see. By the way, this was probably filmed on the cheapest film stock possible.
Oh yeah, I think it was like a Super 8 they used.
It was a Super 8, yeah. And it shows every wart of filming a movie on a Super 8 camera.
Yeah.
It's bad. You can definitely see what's going on in the movie, but it's what will really add some authenticity to this? Let's go ahead and stretch the tape out of the reel and just drag it through the dirt. And because I don't think there's a clean frame in this film. There's some film grain or a blotch or something on everything.
Everywhere, yeah.
So, let's see where my Orland
post boobs.
Yeah, I spoke too early. Now Orland is with Jack back in the park, trying to get him back into his martial arts. Because when the three Nanjas showed up earlier, he couldn't fight. So Orland's like, I'm going to need you. funny line here, because he can't do it. Like Jack is just struggling with even working with a bow staff.
Mhm.
And then Orland says to Jack, what did Maggie even see in you?
Yep, I took that line down too.
Like
that sparked him.
Like Maggie's only with Jack for his martial arts skill. That's why she loved watching him do Tai Chi by the retention pond so much.
It's a surprise Maggie never spurned you, Jack.
Yeah. So montage time.
Yep.
Short montage, but a montage.
Yes, but it's still a montage.
Yes.
I got the word montage in all caps in my notes.
I've got it with an exclamation point. Montage. So we get Jack's training montage. Man, we're 40 minutes in.
I know. I've been looking at the time. Like, well, we're having a good time with this. This is.
So, honestly, though, we're not slowing much down here. So we get Jack training montage. He's better at it. So there's a ninja attack at the archaeology site.
Yes. How far away is this archaeology site? Is it like adjacent to the graveyard? I
don't know. Algonquin, maybe. Probably the Indiana Dunes, honestly.
It could be. It could be.
So cut to suddenly everyone's at the archaeology site. Well, here's what I mentioned earlier. Spitrockney's controlling Orland. Orland's controlling Jack.
Yes.
So ninjas attack, and they they steal the urn of Prometheus. And then now that they've got the urn, they don't need Jack. So bad guy sends out Chun-Li.
Chun-Li.
He literally calls this jacked ninja, you're my last leg. Because he's an arachnid, so he's only got
he only had 8.
To my count, it's not even 8 though. Like you had the two guys. Anyway, I'm not going to do the math, but there was not 8. So he sends last leg out, and then we see him just kill a sex worker. Like he's got quote unquote hooker in his lair, pays her money, and then rips. We don't see it, but he tears a part of his face off. She starts screaming, and then we don't see her again alive.
Yeah.
Orland and Maggie are on a picnic. Orland kind of goes through this fun, Sirio de Bergerac of trying to keep Jack hidden as Jack's really there and trying to keep her hidden. Last leg shows up, and Jack saves Orland. But Orland had dropped the ring. We get this fun little thing where Orland goes to the bathroom and Last Leg follows him into the bathroom. And then Jack, we get this fun, almost like Bugs Bunny-esque of Jack's in the entrance to the bathroom and this ninja runs in and we hear a bunch of kicking and punching and then he gets thrown out and then he runs back in and gets thrown out. It's it's comical. Yeah. It's fine. I'm glad they only did it 4 times because it was don't do it again. It was funny the first couple, don't do it again. But Last Leg ends up finding the ring that controls Jack. Takes it back to Spitrockney. Jack watches. Again, now no one's controlling Jack, so he's just acting of his own volition, I guess. He's
just kind of wandering around.
Yeah. So Jack's watching Orland make advances on Maggie. She refuses. This is where Orland realizes his ring is missing, and returns. He goes back to the men's room at the park to find the ring.
Yeah. Last
Leg had followed them. He sneaks into Maggie's house. We'll come back to that. Jack is now working for the Spitrockney because he has the ring. Orland knows that Spitrockney has Maggie. He lets Orland know through another sheet of paper. Or no, this one it was written on the wall or something.
That's right. It says, I have her.
I have her. And we get a fun little bit where Spitrockney, in control of Jack, I'm done with you. Why don't you take a long walk off a short pier? Cut to Jack walking off a pier. It was kind of fun. So really, again, Jack's not the main character of this film. Orland goes to Spitrockney, basically to make it hey, because Orland, I guess, still has the urn. So Orland goes to Spitrockney and he's I want the urn. Because I'm going to rule mankind.
Mm-hmm.
And then Spitrockney drops the ring. So now the ring, literally we spend like 8 seconds of everybody searching the floor for the ring and they can't find it. So Orland's like, well, I've got no reason to help you. I'm not going to do it. Well, this is where they bring Maggie out. So now he's got some reasoning. So there's some argument going on. Cut to what I thought was going to be, it's pretty useless, but it was still funny. Cut to waterfront picnic with 2 older ladies.
Yeah, that threw me for a loop. Where is this going?
As they're watching a Night of the Living Dead remake, like, which was kind of fun because it was like word for word, but it was Bobby instead of Barbara.
Yeah.
But
I got a quote from one of the old ladies as they're watching this movie. They're talking they're narrating themselves watching the movie, and one of them says, "Ooh, he's dark and grisly, just like a Republican."
Yeah, I heard that too.
Political satire, circa 1992. Take that, George H.W. Bush.
He's dark and grisly. And so, so they're watching this remake. We get Spit Rockney. He's got Orland. He's burning him.
Yeah.
With
basically like a hot poker.
Yeah. As Maggie's watching. I honestly thought it was going to be flipped. I thought he was going to burn Maggie and make Orland watch so Orland would cooperate. But instead Orland has the urn and he's going to burn Orland and then make Maggie watch. Like, Maggie doesn't care about Orland. She's made that clear.
Just wants to torture Maggie.
But Maggie finds the ring, puts it on, because that's what you do with the ring. You just put it on.
Yeah.
Well, she puts it on. Now she controls Jack. So back to the waterfront
the
scene.
Shoreline. Yeah. The other retention pond.
As we do get a fun little, this is probably the most creative of the filmmaking of the movie in terms of layers, is the audio of the movie they're watching, which the TV is not on, by the way. You could tell because they're showing the screen and it's blank. Yeah. But it's like they're coming to get you, Bobby. There's one as Jack is coming out of the water towards the lake. It's a fun little bit. First I thought this isn't necessary, and I thought that was kind of fun. The bad guy takes the ring from Maggie, but Jack scares these old ladies. Cut to Jack on motorcycle.
Yeah, he does. He gets a motorcycle, busts through the wall,
the cardboard walls of this lair.
Spit Rockney's lair.
I enjoy it because it's like whenever somebody's not controlling Jack's awesome. Hey, no one's controlling me. I'm gonna go check out this lady changing her clothes. I'm gonna go jump on this motorcycle. Like, when no one's controlling Jack, he's pretty much Sam Shepard from Roadhouse. Sam Elliott, not Sam Shepard.
Oh, he's also Sam Shepard too.
Yeah, he's Sam Elliott from Roadhouse. Hey, Mito.
He's tying his hair back in a ponytail.
I'd watch that movie. Yeah. I'd watch Roadhouse remade with Ninja Zombie as Sam Elliott character.
Yeah.
So Jack apparently knows where Spit Rockney's at, heads to the lair. Turns out, give me the urn. Jack's been hiding the urn in his stomach.
Yep. Well, earlier Orland told him hide it someplace that I
don't even want to know where it's at.
I can't know where it's at in case I get captured. We can't let Spit Rockney get the urn, so only you could know where it is.
And Spit Rockney has control of Jack now. So he rips open this really small hole in his stomach, but takes out this urn that is way too big for the hole, hands it over, and Spit Rockney tells Jack to shoot Maggie, gives him a gun, kill Maggie. His heart triumphs, I guess.
Yeah.
She
says, "I love you."
Yeah. And then she says, always, or something like that. So Jack turns around, bites the ring finger off Spit Rockney. Then we get a sword squabble. Yeah, I didn't call it a fight. I just called it a squabble. It's a sword disagreement. Neither one of them are good at their sword fighting skills. No. So they cut to karate, which also is not very good. But that's okay, because then there's the big reveal. The reason why Spit Rockney wants the urn of Prometheus for everlasting life is because he's also dead.
Yes, he's been dead for 300 years.
300 years. Spit Rockney is a zombie. Maggie is stabbed and dies. Didn't really see that coming.
Nope.
And as Spit Rockney's about to drink from the urn, Jack shoots the urn, which ruins its magical powers. Kind of fun because the water from the urn spills on Spit Rockney's hand, turning his hand alive. but then he can feel it dying. And then apparently whenever dead flesh meets living flesh, you just spontaneously combust.
Yeah, you just catch on fire.
So he catches on fire. That's apparently the end of Spit Rockney. Jack takes the ring off the dismembered finger, puts it on Maggie, dead Maggie, and then starts talking to her because I think realizing Spit Rockney was dead and could still talk gave Jack like, oh yeah, I guess I could be talking this whole time. Maggie then seizures back to life.
Yep. That's how it works. That's how they did it in Flatliners.
Orland realizes that he gets paid for every time he says the word Jack, so he spits about 73 Jacks out here. Jack, where are you going, Jack? Jack. Jack and Maggie walk off to his crypt. I don't know if Maggie's alive again, or I don't know. Like, I don't know why she came back to life. It doesn't matter because that's the movie. That's the movie.
That's it.
Yep.
Roll credits.
Yep. They head off to his crypt.
Mm-hmm. In Antioch, Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, hey, any final thoughts before we move on?
This movie was fun. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too. All right, folks. At this point, as we do every week, Oz and I give our own unique review of the movie we've been watching, unique rating. So, hey, Oz, how would you rate Ninja Zombie?
I'm going to give this the old college try.
One old college try.
That's what it's getting. So what are you giving it?
I'm giving this movie 5 stars for the Village of Antioch on TripAdvisor.
Oh, nice. Might be the first 5-star review.
Hey, they're getting it from me due to this film. Next up in our comedy segments, Oz and I, we scour the interwebs searching for unprofessional reviews that tickle our funny bones, and we hope they tickle yours as well. In our next segment, Outside Insights. Hey, Oz, what's your outside insight?
I took mine off Letterboxd because there's not a lot of reviews on Amazon, just because it's not a very widely distributed movie. Yeah. This is a 3-star review from Lou, rhymes with wow. So from Lao.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. He watched this August 16th, 2022. A shot on 8mm zombie jam. It's all very amateur hour stuff. The acting's pretty suspect, but I thought the mask work was decent. There isn't much going on martial arts wise, but I loved it when the ninja zombie started to fight off a group of thugs using a severed arm.
Yep.
It's always great when a movie has a banging title song. Too bad it only played over the end credits. 3 stars. Thanks,
It
Lau.
works. Yeah. Lao.
What do you got?
I got 2. They're both from IMDb. As you said before, there's only 140 reviews on there. Yeah. So these are 2 of the this is 1.5% of the reviews on IMDb. The first is a 10 out of 10.
Okay.
Amazing film left by Russell Hultberg in September of 2018. Trendsetter for the homegrown movies. Set the bar for the Blair Witch Project. It's a shame that this has sat on the shelf for over 25 years. Best viewed on the big screen. Bless you. Pressure your local theater to bring in this film.
Yeah, I'd love to do a showing of this.
Yeah, like a little cult movie night or something like that. Yeah,
it'd be fun.
It'd be fun. Yeah. My other one I'm going to share is a 2 out of 10.
Okay.
Bad on All Levels, left by Will and Charlene Brown in May of 2022.
Teamed up on this one.
They did.
What'd you think, Charlene? Well, Will, I'll tell you.
Bad acting, bad music, bad quality, bad sound, bad storyline. The movie feels so cheap. I am 100% confident any of you could make a better movie. I mean, an 8-year-old could. It's so bad an 8-year-old could make this movie.
Right. It's pretty good for a 7-year-old, though.
Yeah, not an 8-year-old.
Thanks, Will and Charlene.
Will and Charlene Brown. They're probably residents of like Lindenhurst, which is the next town over from Antioch.
Probably, yeah.
It's the old Lindenhurst Antioch rivalry.
Yeah. They got a Stevenson education, those two.
Yeah. All right, folks. It's that point in the show you've all been waiting for, the Let's Talk About Flicks signature segment, the 3-2-1, in which Oz and I will each share 3 goods, 2 bads, and 1 about this week's movie, Ninja Zombie. Oz, what are your 3 goods?
My first one, you prefer to watch movies with subtitles on.
I do.
I don't mind it. Like if they're on, so a lot of times you get to the movie before I get to the movie, and you will watch it with subtitles, and the subtitles will be on, and then I just leave them on because whatever. Until they get out of sync. This movie, they got out of sync decently quick. But there was one scene in the montage where he was relearning his skills, where he was practicing with the nunchucks.
Okay.
And the subtitle on the screen as he was whipping his nunchucks around was "nunchucks whooshing." So that's one of my goods is for those of the hearing impaired, you were still being explained what sounds were happening in the frame. So nunchucks whooshing subtitle is my first. My second one, to kind of go in line with my rating of the old college try, like everyone is trying their best. And I'm here for that. Like I really enjoy that. Could I watch this quality of movie like daily? No, absolutely not. But it was fun to see everybody like they were really giving it their best. Like and so there's just something just alluring and charming about that it's like you guys are you're making a movie. You're not trying to make money. You're just making a movie. Like I don't think anybody on this production thought this is gold. Like, but they were like, we wanted to make a movie, so we did. And kudos
and it's
to you
not
for that.
half bad.
No, it's really not. It's not. Like, I would recommend this to someone that's not like too big of a like film snob. That just
like
be like,
this is what a fun ultra low budget movie looks like.
You just want to have fun with a movie with a really dumb premise, go for it. Like, and 3. That scene where Maggie drops the roses on the ground and then they fly a couple hundred feet through the air. I went back and watched it again just to make sure it's what I was seeing, and I really like that. So because it's like, it's in. Who cares? Like because again,
why not?
Editing on Super 8's probably not easy. Back in 1992, you weren't doing this on a computer. So you're like,
you were doing all this with the physical film.
Yeah. So you're probably somebody's like, Gene, you realize that like, it's going to take me like 2 days to fix it. I just leave it.
Gene.
Yeah. So
assuming the editor's name is Gene.
I don't know. I didn't go that far. I'll look while you tell me your 3 goods.
All right. So my 3 goods. I'm going to start with Terry Dunn's performance as Spithrackney.
Yeah.
Super fun.
Yes.
Oh God. He's just kind of goofy and like, you made me say the F word.
Yeah.
Like. So just fun performance from that guy. Well done, Terry Dunn. My second good is Banjo knocking on Jack's grave. Knock, knock. Anybody home? And my third good is just the screaming for people's deaths. You know, the first time when Jack takes the sword through the sternum. Ah! and then there's like one of Professor Coover's associates taking like eight bazillion ninja stars to the head. The guy just shrieking as he's pelted with the throwing stars. Ah! so I guess my third good is just that like people like just giving it their all as they're screaming to death.
Fair enough.
So those are my 3 goods. Oz, what are your 2 bads?
This isn't a bad. The movie was edited by the writer-director, Mark Bessinger, as well as one of the producers, Donald Rasmussen. So, not their strong points.
Yeah.
But
all right, well,
so be it. So be it.
All right. What are your bads, my friend?
My 2 bads are editing needed another look. You know, and I understand you did it physically, and I had to pick at something, but it's like there were some cuts that like could have lingered another beat or 2, just like when Banjo left the note under Orland's windshield wiper, and it was decently long text, and they cut away to like before really anybody had a chance to finish reading it. Just things like that. So the editing could have used a little touch up. And 2, I mentioned earlier too, Jack's choker didn't always cover his makeup job. So there were times where you could see where the makeup stopped. It was an interesting choice to put him in a bare chest with a leather vest. You know, like if you put a shirt on him, you could have hidden that thing with no problem. But you left him bare chested to show off his muscles, which you're then going to have to conceal the makeup line. And they didn't always get the job done. So really took me out of the film.
Yeah, it was just unwatchable after that.
8-year-old would have covered that.
8-year-old could have done better than that.
I just felt accosted by the design choices there.
Spurned, if you will.
All right, what do you got for your
Avery
bats?
Johnson would hate this movie. My bads. The first one is Orlin. Let Maggie grieve.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he's like outside of the funeral. He tells Maggie outside of Jack's funeral, it'll pass.
Get over it.
You know, this is like, 72 hours after the love of her life died. It'll pass. Like, come on, let her grieve. Be empathetic.
Right.
And like later that day, he's putting the moves on her.
I know. It was kind of awkward there.
Come on, Orlin. Just let her grieve. Let her be. Yeah, so that's my first bad. And my second bad is on me for, again, watching this in the coffee shop and hurriedly having to cover my phone when the Maggie boob scene comes on, because I don't want to be known as the coffee shop perv.
coffee shop creep.
Yeah. who's looking at boobs in the coffee shop. So
I wonder what these people are doing now. Like,
I know, because it's what are we 32 years after this film was made?
Because some of them have some IMDb credits. I'm sure it's probably all still lower budget, non-mainstream stuff. Yeah. But still, like, what are you doing in the between time? Like, are you working enough to continue being a director or an actor, like for a living?
Well, John Beaton Hill, the guy who played Jack,
right?
He actually has an image, by his name in there. The rest of them don't.
So I saw the director's he's got one too. Like, I know they don't show those in the cast, but like you click on him, he's got an IMDb page. But again, he's done 9 projects.
Yeah,
I mean, you could tell by looking. He's homosexual, which is fine. He's the director of a TV show called Galians and a director of a movie called The Last Straight Man. So he kind of, plus you go to Mark Messenger's IMDb page and just watch the video play at the top. And
it was literally playing as.
So that also kind of leads me to believe that. But it's like
I'm watching it right now.
Yeah,
I'm transfixed.
Yeah, but it's like Jack Beaton Hill. It's like he's won 4 awards, but you look at his stuff and it's like there's nothing of note, which is fine. He's acted in 6 films. He's directed 1. Like, so it's like this isn't enough to keep you busy. Like, there's no way. Yeah. What are you doing in the meantime?
Yeah, there's got to be a full-time career gig outside of film production.
There's got to be. Like, you're not living off your Ninja Zombie residuals.
Yeah.
So, all right. So
those are my two bads. What's your
My is when Jack came back from the dead and was in his like burial suit. Did Orlin dress Zombie Jack, or did he give him the clothes to dress himself? Like, because the first thing he said was, "Let's get you changed," and then cut to him in his like the clothes he's wearing the rest of the movie. So, like,
they should have had like a montage sequence of them going to like TJ Maxx or like something like Ross Dress for Less.
but it's like he had just I'm curious. What happens in that between time? Did Orlin strip him down and change him? Did he give him the clothes and tell him to go behind the shrubs and do it? Like, just wondering, like, because he went from suit to battle clothes.
Yeah.
Who changed you? That's my
That's fair. That's a fair question.
What's your
So during the scene where, it's the excavation scene, they're accosting the Professor Corver and his associates, and Jack rips the arm off of one of the ninjas.
Yes.
You see movies where like, an appendage is ripped off and then used as a weapon, that kind of thing. I think even in Black Dynamite that happened, 2 weeks ago. You know, like Black Dynamite takes a severed the I threw that before I walked in the room. Like he takes the severed arm and is beating the guy with his arm. In this movie, though, it takes it a step further, where he took the severed arm, balls up the fist.
Yes. Oh, I enjoyed that. Yeah.
Uses it to punch. So my is how come other movies don't take that extra step?
I don't know. And why don't you just punch them yourself?
Well, you got the extra reach. I think that's
true.
what it is.
It's true.
So yes, why don't more movies do that, where you're shaping the hand of the severed arm? You make it like a chop, or you make it a fist, or like maybe like you put the two fingers out and you use it to poke somebody in the eyes. You're like,
oh yeah, that's a good point.
How come you don't do that? Yeah.
What was the Street Fighter character who he was like Indian that had the really long
Dalzim?
There you go. Yeah. That's what it did. Like when you can go from Jack to Dalzim by just using someone else's fist.
There's also the scene where Jack would breathe fire at people too, and would teleport behind them.
And when he had green and orange hair, and would just bend over and be shot and just send off electric.
Jack is Blanca.
I hated playing my sister in Street Fighter.
Was she a button masher?
She was a button masher, and she'd always choose. What was his name? You just said
Blanca.
Blanca. You said it, and my mind registered Balrog, and I mean that's not a character in Street Fighter. But she'd always pick him, and she would just mash buttons, and apparently that was easy to do, was bend over and electrocute. With button mashing, and I would lose every time, and I hated playing her.
Well, I think all you had to do was just hit the punch button several times, just mash the punch button,
right? And that's what she would do, and she'd win every time. Yeah. And I hated playing her, because here I am, I kind of know how to string together a sequence, and you're defeating me every time because I can't touch you. So,
speaking of Street Fighter, I saw that Nintendo Switch, I think in a month or so, is releasing all of the Capcom X-Men Street Fighter Capcom versus games, and there's 6 of them, and then it's all going to be released in
one set.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that.
That'll be sweet. Yeah, that was a fun game.
It was super fun.
Yeah, there were some of those, because I was not a comic book fan growing up, so some of but I was tertiary enough that you don't have to be a comic book fan, but you still know who Cyclops is. You still know Wolverine. But those games are fun because even though I didn't know any of their backstory, they introduced me to characters I never heard of.
Yeah.
Like Psylocke. That was one that used to be in the game. I don't know who this is, but it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I knew who Magneto was and things like that. But those games are fun.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, hey, Oz, that concludes not martial arts movies month. We've just doing the recap. We've covered Beverly Hills Ninja, Black Dynamite, Ninja Zombie, and last week's movie
Kung Fury. There we go.
Mm-hmm. So that's concluding this fun month. What do we have in store for next month?
Well, next month is October, of course, the month of All Hallows Eve. Ooh. And so we felt it appropriate to do something spooky-ish.
Yes.
But not necessarily full-blown horror every week.
Yes. Raising the bar a little bit, too. Far as
this month anyway.
Yeah. As compared to this month.
I mean, yes, it's still raising the bar, even compared to John Candy movie month, but those are definitely more enjoyable than... Yes. I'd watch John Candy movies, every other day compared to some of these.
Exactly.
But we're dealing next month. We're going to be covering a month. We're calling it Hitchcocktober.
Yes, we are.
It's going to be a month of Alfred Hitchcock movies, which guy's got a lot going on in his filmography. So we're cherry picking a little bit. We're we're taking the cream of the crap.
Cream of the crap. Nobody does it better.
No. So we're going to snap into a Slim Jim. But no, we are back next week with your film. What did you pick?
We're going to kick off.
It's a 5-weeker, by the way.
Yes, it is a 5-weeker. So yes, we're going to kick off October 2024, Hitchcocktober, with the classic Psycho.
Yes.
So we're starting off with a banger.
Yep. And you could say that would make more sense to watch at the end of the month, but let's not kid ourselves. October is Halloween. the way Americans' holidays travel now, it's not like you don't celebrate over the course of a week or a weekend. It's you. October is Halloween. December is Christmas. Like, that's just how it works. They're not days anymore.
Yep. I know we're not even to October yet as the time of this recording. And Patreon subscriber Melissa L is itching to get our Halloween decorations out.
Fair. And there's people in my area that already have them out. Like there's a family, there's a house in Havana that has, I think, 2 of like the 12-foot Home Depot skeletons.
Oh, yeah.
And they leave them up year round. They decorate them.
Like with the other holidays.
Like people used to do the geese on there. These people do it with their 12-foot skeletons in their front yard.
Like a Santa hat on it. It's holding an Easter egg. It's got an American flag.
Yeah, he's got like an Uncle Sam hat in July. And so it's fun. But they just leave them up. All
plants a tree on Arbor Day.
All 12 foot of them. So...
has boxing gloves on for Boxing Day.
I'm leaving Martin Luther King Jr. Day out. Like there's
we'll just leave that one.
There's things rolling. I'm like, no, those aren't right. So, but no, we will be back next week to talk about Psycho to kick off Hitchcocktober month. We've got 3 fun months coming.
We do. The remainder of 2024. I'm looking at the list too. I will say this. Of the 3 months remaining in this calendar year, this is probably the highest brow.
Of
the 3 remaining months.
Probably. Even the worst movie this month is going to be better than any of the remaining 8 movies after. Well, not quite, but still, there's some better movies coming. But
we've already mapped out 2025. And I'm just excited about our theme for the first month.
I am too.
I was telling my again, as I've said before, I co-advise a group at the high school I work at called Comics, Manga, and Fandoms Club.
Okay,
we just spend an hour a week just talking about nerdy stuff. That's all we do. And I was telling my co-advisor, who's really big into fandoms and to the point that she has her master's degree in media studies and has done legit academic research and presentations on fandoms. And I told her what our theme was to kick off next year, and she just was belly laughing.
I'm excited for that one too.
Particularly, I told her the movies. I told her the third one in the month.
It fits.
In
more ways than one, I guess.
Yes, exactly. But in the short term, again, we've got Hitchcocktober coming up for October 2024.
Yeah. You guys got a family Halloween costume?
Yes, we do.
I think you've told me what it is, but I forget.
Yep, I'll share it here. Again, every year we let our daughter pick the theme, and we all dress to the theme. When she was, I think, 2, we did Kill Bill. And she was Beatrix Kiddo, and I was one of the members of the Crazy 88, and Patreon subscriber Melissa L was L Driver.
Fair enough.
Great job. Our daughter, who's now 9, is really, really into the Godzilla verse. Really into it. And she loves Mothra. Mothra is the one that's female identifying monster.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so she's gonna go as Mothra. I will be King Kong, and Patreon subscriber Melissa L will be Godzilla.
Oh, that's great. I love it.
What about you? Does your family have any Halloween themes going?
We did. We went 12 strong years.
Yes.
Of 11. 11 strong years of a family theme. And then we knew the day was coming when our oldest would want to branch off and go trick-or-treating with her friends. Fair. And so that lasted. Last year was her first year breaking free. So we still did a family theme. Last year we went as Home Alone. My wife and I were the Wet Bandits, and my son was Kevin McAllister, and my daughter
was the old man's garbage can full of salt.
Oh, right. No, we still did a family thing. My daughter went on her own, and my son and us went as Kevin McAllister and the Wet Bandits. So, and then we did a Christmas photo. We actually dressed my sister up as Marv. Harry. she was Harry, and then I just photoshopped Daniel Stern into the photo as well. It's for a Christmas card.
He was there too.
Yeah, lives in the neighborhood, and so, but we haven't really talked about what we're doing this year. So I'm sure my daughter will still do something with her friends, which is fine. But we're also hitting at that point where, like, I don't know. It's hard to tell when you got a son growing up that you never know what day he's going to be like, I'm good. Like, I want the candy, but
yeah.
And so we just don't know. We don't know.
You could do Home Alone 2. Like, one of you could be the pigeon lady.
Yeah.
One of you could be Donald Trump in the hotel lobby.
Or I was thinking my son could still be Kevin McAllister. I'll just be Tim Curry.
There you go.
Yeah. And my wife will be Rob Schneider.
Your wife will be the brick that is thrown off.
Yeah, there you go.
What are you dressed as? I'm the brick that gets thrown off.
Screw the pigeon lady. Like, why are you homeless in New York as a British person anyway?
Yeah.
And why can't Trump save the day?
There's several answers to that.
Yeah. So Hitchcocktober for next month. We will be back next week to talk about Psycho. Social media wise, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. The Patreon link down below as well if you'd like to join there.
Yeah.
And
join the army.
We're looking forward to a big rollout for 2025, which is now just 3 months away.
Yes.
And fun things coming down the pipeline. We talked a little bit, that might unveil a website for next year.
Yeah.
And so that could be fun. So we'll see where we're going there. But for another week of Let's Talk About Flicks, I'm Oz.
I'm Curtis.
We'll see you guys next week.